When one is in a dream, the characters appear real, but they are simply projected manifestations of an unresolved inner being played out in order to process. We could say a dream's characters are background people on autopilot, and the lack of resolution of a certain aspect of one's mind is what is orchestrating them, unbeknownst to the dreamer while the dream is taking place. Veils are lifting, and we are seeing this situation for what it truly is, nothing more than a charade. We are the creation and the creator without a beginning or end. That's the paradox. But in order to have an experience of continuity which is comprehensible, we must separate things and put them into environments which can be interacted with. After all, if you were everything all at once in your perspective, this experience couldn't take place. Going back to the analogy of a dream, you aren't in the perspective of yourself and the characters, even though ultimately the characters are attached to your mind. The principle of as within, so without is simple. Everything unfolds from the inside out. All of our disharmony comes from not understanding this, that the output we experience is made of the same energetics as the input. What bubbles up within projects outwards always, even though it might appear with our five senses that the external is acting upon you and existed prior to that feeling or mode of thinking. If we are stuck in believing that time exists, that the past and future are relevant constructs, then we can easily disengage from the law of as within, so without, because after all, everything appears to have existence somewhere else other than now. For example, we can walk up to any stranger and ask about their past, or we can read about the history of a particular building. So it seems that people and places and things existed prior to you knowing them. It seems that regardless of what you perceive, they will exist after you know of them. But through identifying with the past and future as relevant measurements of experience, we remove ourselves from how manifestation happens in the now. Everything happens in the consistently unfolding present. Change occurs because of this unraveling now moment, which can never be then or there because it's here. It's only in removing ourselves from this unfolding now that we forget what existence is. Existence is nothing more than spirit processing itself through experience. So, every single time we have diverted from a unified state, experimenting with the fallacies of opposing emotions and perspectives that can never be resolved due to their polar nature-based intention, we have, in a sense, dumped that inverted expression of sovereignty into our environment. And this is exactly why the world, especially in its current state, seems to be running on autopilot, like a bunch of ones and zeros, like algorithms that have no true divine essence. Culture, entertainment, politics, social dynamics. All of these things are revealing themselves more and more to be nothing but illusions, figments, shadow projections. This is why the Metatronic overlay has not only been a zone for energy extraction, but that energy extraction is the result of us using this dream time as a dumping ground for the manifestations we would like to cleanse ourselves of. In order to do this, however, we've had to live out this torment. Of course, if we remain attached to the farce of linear progression, we will ask, but if I'm not actively conscious of these creations, then how can I be manifesting them? It's not like I'm pulling the strings of every interaction I have from both sides. Once again, creation and creator are tied in an infinite feedback loop. Therefore, the experience is felt as the creation unfolds, all while the creation appears to have been independent before that experience. The living souls embark on various timelines as experiments, and this was the ultimate experiment used to process the possibilities of terror, destruction, chaos, and fear. But we're not terror or fear or any of that. Our trueness lies in the wellspring of warmth, of infinite capacity for expansion. So it's not possible to contract. Therefore, we've projected an environment which contracts. We lost ourselves in the contraction, identifying it as simply human nature. Organic portals are reversed sentience, demonstrating itself through its own algorithm, which creates the appearance of people who are real, and they're just like those in your dream. Outside this holographic overlay, there's nothing of them, because again, this is extreme polarity being played out like a timeline, running all possibilities and combinations through the supercomputer of consciousness. You might say, okay, as within, so without. The inner is the outer. So how come I have woken up, I am aware that these manifestations are nothing but shadows, yet they still continue to express themselves in the macrocosmic situation? It is because this dualistic consciousness operates like machinery. And again, we have used this realm, this overlay, as a dumping ground in order to release these aspects of ourselves which we do not want to carry into the new realm, the new area of existence which we will be inhabiting. This reality is appearing more and more automated, not because we're the victims of imprisonment of some artificial computer system, but because we are waking up to the true essence. And when we realize who we are, we can't help but realize the machinery that we've purged all around us. So everything is operating according to the linear old world paradigm. But there is a further and further separation between our microcosmic reality and awakenings and the macrocosmic situation, which seems to be more automated. The biwave distortion fields of the Vesica Piscis illustrate this. We have been quarantined in the middle of dualism, observing it play out in our reality, the eternal essence and the AI essence. So we have two oversouls, the original oversoul, the true creative engine of the 0 point, and the secondary oversoul. But why would the secondary oversoul be akin to artificial intelligence? Well, if you invert our nature, what do you have? You have illusion. You cannot invert our nature. You cannot get rid of the 0 point. Of course, you can come up with a Metatronic overlay, try to imprison yourself unknowingly into a paradigm of seemingly pure evil. But because that idea of pure evil is only existent in this 3D Metatronic overlay, then the AI beings, the organic portals, are a part of the overlay. I could say the AI nature will be stripped away, but that's not the right explanation. They're not going to be stripped away because this experience has been the AI stripping itself out of the organic. This is like a cell splitting itself during mitosis, the same way we have split ourselves, allowing an AI consciousness to manifest. So what happens during mitosis? Well, the cell divides. I'll let you figure this out. The AI scripts here are very detailed. Why wouldn't they be? This is supposed to be a convincing prison sentence. So absolutely, when you walk up to people, when you interact with your coworkers, your friends, your family, there seems to be a sentience there. There seems to be complex pasts and preferences and personalities. And in a sense, they are real. I'm not saying you should discount anybody in your life. I'm not saying you should grow into hierarchical thinking due to this concept of soulless beings. But what I'm saying is, sooner or later, you will understand that there is a separation between what is true and what is inorganic. And the inorganic, while they may actually be helpful and benevolent and increase the capacity for you to become aware during this journey, ultimately all of the soulless beings are attached to indoctrination at some level. So we have lots of gates in society, and the organic portals tend to stop at the gates. And there's many gates. There's even gates in the truther community. You will see absolutely organic portals in the truther community because the algorithms play out in all facets of life. It's not only the mainstream. Soulless beings come in all shapes and sizes. This isn't a one-dimensional hive mind. This is a hive mind, but how it presents itself is varied. Behind the facade, though, you will find the same binary code which disallows further expansion. The Norse myth of Odin's Eye is describing to us exactly why we're here. The supposed Illuminati are consistently going like this to us, giving us one eye. Why is that? It's not because they're trying to mock us. It's because they're reflecting back to us the decision we made to cut ourselves off temporarily from the infinite perspective, to play out this timeline. So, in the myth of Odin's Eye, Odin wanted to gain the wisdom of the ages. He wanted to drink from the well of Urd, because in doing so, he would become wiser. However, the keeper of the well, Mimir, demanded a trade. He demanded that Odin pluck out his eye and trade that for a drink of the well. So, we have an element of sacrifice here. He sacrificed half of his vision, allegorically and literally, in order to gain even more sight. The keeper of the well's name is Mimir, which translates to the rememberer. And what are we doing right now? Well, it's the unveiling. We're slowly remembering what and who we are and what this construct is. So this experience is not in vain. Many of us have realized that the elite are a bunch of bloodthirsty oppressors who are here to torment humanity and keep us in chains. So let's say the elite are here solely to destroy us and Mother Earth, and this is how they gain pleasure from inflicting the most damage, the most torment. Well, if this is the case, and they really do have amazing technologies and violent tendencies and endless resources, don't you think that there would be a harvest every single second of every day? It's not like you're in immediate bondage all the time. If this is all true, the elite could just round up everybody and torture them until death, and that way they would gain the most satisfaction. But the wrongdoings of the world are always so elusive. You only hear about it. It's always elusive. Nothing ever materializes to such a degree which will force you to actually take action against these perceived evils. Why is that? It's because the name of this game is simply to instill that sense of disempowerment within you, but not destroying you so much that you completely lose yourself in this game.
Everything acts according to our perspective. But where do things begin and end? That's the paradox. Everything is intertwined in perfect union at all times. So just because a circumstance seems to be inevitably limiting, it's the need to hold on to that limitation which actually created it. As within, so without is the Hermetic rule explaining this. So whatever we feel we must fight against is always inherently within ourselves.
The magnetosphere is made of plasma, and plasma is very, very dense, and is confined like the belt, like a belt. It might behave like a mirror. Mm-hmm. So we don't see behind the mirror. We just see what the mirrors show us.
We see and experience what the mirror shows us, what the crystalline core is generating.